Hey, let's sit at the kitchen table and have a cup of coffee. I want to talk to you guys about an end of an era. Yeah, stay tuned. Well, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. I wanted to talk to you guys about something, well, the end of an era for me personally. And that is in conjunction with answering a question to one of my viewers in a recent video I just produced, and that is on should I retire? So here's the answer to the question, a little bit more details and explanation of why this is in the end of an era for me. So to answer the question to my viewer, he asked, well, what vocation do I work that I save lives? I work in the medical community. And I've been working off and on in medicine for years. Yep, for years. And this segues into the segment of the end of an era for me. I started working in the medical field 52 years ago. Yep, do the math. I was 11 years old when I started working in the medical field. Now you're scratching your heads. Now wait a minute. There's something to this. If I know Jerry, he's got a story to tell. Boy, do I have a story to tell. So get your favorite beverage, sit down, because we're going to talk. I have to go back a little bit more. Yeah, back before me. Back before my dad. Back before my grandma, my great-grandma, and around the time of my great-great-grandmother. Yeah, we all started, as far as I know, it could have started earlier, and I think it did. It started with a great-great-great-uncle who was a very famous surgeon and noted person in U.S. history. Oh, what was his name? John Quincy Adams was my ancestor. John Quincy Adams, famous surgeon and famous and notable on other points too. So moving back forward into time with my great-great-grandmother, she was an RN, a nurse at a hospital in, I believe it was Boise, Idaho. So she served in the medical field in Boise. And then my great-grandmother was an RN, a registered nurse. And she served at community hospital in the local community I live. And they later built a bigger hospital, so she moved into that bigger hospital and became one of the first RNs at that hospital. Which, by the way, that hospital opened up for business on the day I was born. So that hospital and myself are exactly the same age. And moving even forward, my grandmother was a LPN at a local hospital. And she worked for many years as an LPN. I remember visiting her and she'd come home in her nurse's outfit. And yeah, that was fond memories there, and even more recent. My dad went into the medical field also. Now my dad started out rather young. He started out at the age of 12 as an emergency room tech. And then became, when he got old enough, he started working on the ambulance. And then when he got 17, 18 years old, he was able to drive ambulance. And then the war came, the Korean conflict. So he became an ambulance driver during, at the tail end of the Korean conflict, right after they signed the armistice, is when he served in Korea. I found some of his pictures from when he served there in the MASH units in Korea. So he was an ambulance driver for many, many years. EMT, he became EMT 5. He used to teach it at the local college over in a Oregon community where I grew up. Now, he also worked ambulance in that community, which leads the story back to me. I began my medical career working in the ambulance at the age of, now I mentioned it's been 52 years I've been doing medical. I was 11 years old. I was in the 6th grade. Now I see you scratching your heads like, wait. Child labor laws, all that. This is like, well, you got to understand, this is kind of like in the latter part of the mid part of the last century. There was a lot of things going on, and a lot of things that were permissible and things that were done. You know, we did it. My first job I ever worked, it was not delivering newspapers. That was actually my second job. I used to deliver the local newspapers at our coastal community where I grew up. And I took on a job also flipping hamburgers at a local restaurant in addition to the newspaper. But my very first job that I was working on weekends and holidays through this time was I was an ambulance dispatcher from 6th grade clear through to my 12th grade year of high school. Yep, I was an ambulance dispatcher, go figure, and I was good at it too. Even though I was quite young, I could remain calm and I could get people to calm down and give me the information they needed, and I would get a hold of the appropriate people to get the ambulance to the right place at the right time and help save many lives that way. Later on, as when I got into the 9th grade, I was able to be old enough to volunteer for the auxiliary at the local hospital. It wasn't a nurse's aide. It was like a candy striper, but it was different. It was the auxiliary. I remember I wore white slack pants and a baby blue scrub top. That was my uniform with my name badge. And I worked in the very hospital I was born in, so that was kind of cool. So I did that through to my senior year of high school, volunteered, and then later on I became, and this will answer the question to my viewer, is what am I doing? Well, and the end of the era is I have been working as a phlebotomist. Yep. And a certified nurse's aide in bedside care. And I did that for many years. And that was, I took up that skill after we got settled, after we went through the homeless thing. And that's the new skills I got, was to become a phlebotomist and a certified nurse's aide. And I love the job. Later, okay, now this is where it gets into, this must be genetics. I mean, seriously. My great-great-great-great-grandfather, my great-great-grandmother, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my dad, me. Well, my daughter became a certified nurse's aide and worked with me side by side helping patients at the same hospital. We worked together for a while. She's on into other careers now, a career path. And just a couple years ago, my son got into certified nurse's aide, and he's currently enrolled in college where he's studying to be an EMT, ambulance person. So it's like full circle, and yeah, this has got to be genetics. It just has to be. Well, the end of the era came. It approached me just about a month ago. And yes, I reached the age where I could decide to retire, but I also got to the point where I went to college, I got a degree, and I was able to move up in the company I work with. And now I work as a cardiac rhythms monitor tech, where I sit and watch approximately 40 patients' heart rhythms and interpret them and alert the proper staff in just in time so they can go intervene on when a patient is in crisis. So I'm still able to work in a job where I don't have to use so much of my body. Because working on the floor, some of you nurses can attest to this, really tears up your body. It's tough. But it is the most rewarding job I have ever worked. Ever. Around the time of my birthday is when you recertify for your licensing with the State Board of Nursing. I decided to pass up on recertifying for bedside care as a certified nurse's aide, since I had already been working for 2 years in this other position and becoming quite proficient at it. Yeah, I let the license go, so I'm no longer a certified nurse's aide, and I can no longer consider myself a healthcare professional, which is what our legislature had determined that certified nurses aid, because we go through a lot of extensive training, could be consider ourselves healthcare professionals. Up until about 5-6 years ago, we couldn't, but now we could. But now I can't, because now I have no more certification. I let it lapse. But this new job I don't need to be certified in, and it's a job I can work through my retirement and work past my retirement if I want to, and which also answers a couple more questions from some viewers that were asking me regarding my retirement video. And that was if I could take a part-time job on the side. Well, I don't have to. I could actually cut my hours and do an on-call with the same company, and if I wanted to. So I can continue working there as long as I possibly physically can and mentally can. So the work is really not all that stressful per se as far as on the body. On the mind, you just have to be alert and aware of what's going on your monitors. So it's a very rewarding job, incredibly rewarding. Gonna miss bedside care because I miss the interaction with the patients, because I had a fresh audience every week to tell my same old crusty jokes to. Same old jokes every week. I'd tell to a new person. You want to hear a couple of those jokes I would tell? You really do? Well, some of them are stories, some of them are jokes. Okay, the first one is, you talked me into it. This little boy was standing at the window looking through it with his mommy, and they were observing this beautiful sunset. The sky was painted with all kinds of hues of red, orange, and there was the blues and grays. And his mama noted to him, she goes, "Look at that beautiful sky God painted for us." And the little boy looks up at his mommy, and he goes, "Yep." And he did it all with his left hand. And his mama looks at him, perplexed. She gasps, "Why do you say he did it with his left hand?" He goes, "'Cause Mama, Jesus is sitting on his right hand." And of course, my patients really got a kick out of it. That was a technique I used with my patients to help bring the anxiety level down and kind of perk up their spirits, because it distracted them from what was going on. Because here they have a stranger in their room. They're in an open back gown, by the way, and and they're also in fear because they don't know what's going on with them. They're sick or they're in some kind of crisis. So you try to bring the element of tension down a little bit, and that helps with the healing process. So there's another little story I would share with them. I kind of feel the patients out to see what kind of patient they were, depending on what kind of story I could tell them to help boost their spirits. Well, another one goes in line with that, and it really is cute, is the same little boy was thumbing through the family Bible on the living room coffee table. He picks it up, and a leaf falls out from between the pages onto the floor. Somebody at one time had taken a beautiful fall-colored leaf and pressed it between the pages. Well, he looks down the floor, he picks it up with excitement, he runs into the kitchen, he goes, "Mama, Mama!" She goes, "What do you got there?" He goes, "Oh, I think it's Adam's suit." And of course, chuckles and guffaws. It was kind of enlightening for the patients, and it's really good in my heart to see the patients cheer up and see some light in their eyes. But then again, not everybody's religious, so it's like I had to feel my patients out because I had to be you know, engaging in all peoples, regardless of their background, their faith, ideals, whatever. We just left that outside the door. But I really wanted to connect with my patients. So couple more jokes I would tell them if they weren't religious. I had something that, one of them was my grandson told me this. Okay, this is a dad joke, dads. You can tell your kids this. My grandson came to me one day and he goes, "Grandpa, how come it takes a pirate so long to get through the alphabet?" "I don't know, Nate, because he's always saying "arr," and he goes, "No, because he spends too much time at sea." Ha. So the patients laugh. You know, it depends on the type of patient you're dealing with. And then there's another joke. Okay, hang on to your shorts for this one. This pirate, he was sailing the 7 seas, and he sees a ship he wants to attack. So he calls to his cabin boy, and he goes, "Arr, matey, fetch me my fetch me my red shirt in case I get stabbed. No one would freak out from the blood." So he fetches his red shirt, and they're victorious in battle. 3 days later, they're sailing along on the 7 seas, and he sees an armada of 10 ships on the horizon. He calls to his cabin boy, and he goes, "Arr, matey, fetch me my brown pants." Of course, it takes a minute. Some of them don't get it. A lot of them do. And then they start busting up laughing because there's that silence. They're thinking about it. And then you get the laugh. And it's just like, yes, that's good medicine. Laughter is the best medicine. So that's what I'm going to miss, is helping patients get over their circumstances and rise above. One of the other things I was able to do firsthand is because I have a pacemaker and I have had open heart surgery. I have the stitches in the chest. So I joke saying I'm a charter member of the Zipper Club. But I'm able to help patients because I worked in the cardiac floor, and the main reason why I got into the medical field because of my heart condition is my doctor would not release me to go to work in the first place unless I convinced him that I could work in the medical field within steps of the crash cart, and then if something else happened to me, I'm already got help right there. And so that's why I specifically chose this vocation, was to keep me on this side of the grass a while longer. And it worked. You know, we had to code me one time. I had a really bad incident happen at work, but luckily I was at work when it happened, so the staff jumped in, brought the crash cart in, got me stabilized and put back together, and off I went. But I was able to help my patients overcome their anxiety from facing open heart surgery or even getting a pacemaker, because a lot of anxiety comes from the mystery of the unknown. You don't know what to expect, and unless you've been through it with yourself, it's really hard to convey to a patient that it's going to be okay. But when they see me as a testimony standing right in front of them, excuse me, and doing a show and tell, they see the pacemaker, they see the thing, and excuse me, And then I explain to them what to expect going into surgery, what to expect after surgery, and then the recovery. So I'm going to miss all of that, terribly miss it, but I can continue working. So for me, this is the end of an epic era, and that is not totally turning my back and walking away from the medical field, but continuing working in the medical field and watching my children pursue the medical field. And I just learned, get this, my granddaughter, yep, looks like she's heading in that direction in college. We'll see. So stay tuned. Well, I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I just decided I wanted to sit down at the dinner table with a nice cup and share with you guys my adventures. Now you guys got a little bit of insight in my life and know what I work at and what I do for a living aside from playing on the hobby farm. Please click that bell icon and that alerts you to new videos as I upload them, but you have to be a subscriber in order to click the bell icon. So if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. Another thing I wish you would do is just give us a thumbs up, like the channel, leave a comment, compliment, question. I'm answering questions. And also, check out the merchandise below. You can get one of these cups down below. Now, this is my company that I have. Pine Meadows Hobby Farm is a product of the company Duck and a Cup Productions. So check that merchandise out. Be safe and please, please be kind. We'll see you guys in the next episode, all right? Bye-bye.